This conference will now be recorded.
So, have you done some hands-on with tags? No? So what is the syntax to run a tag? Ansible playbook. Playbook name. And then tags. And then tag name. So handlers. So what's the difference between tags versus handler? What's the difference between tags versus, let's say, or else handler versus a task? What's the difference between handlers versus a task and then tag? Okay. Yeah, if the status of the task is changed, then we notify the handler, then handler will be triggered. Okay, correct? And then what is the task? So handler will be triggered whenever this is notified. Okay, then what is the task? So task is executed every time. So when you run your playbook. But what is the tag then? What is the tag? Yeah. So yes. So you want to run a task, and once you tag it, you can tag the task, and then you can run that task. So you want to run this. You want to run a specific task from the list of tasks. You can go with the tag. Okay, that's correct. And then task is executed every time. So even though if you don't tag it, the task is executed. But if you want to run a task, when you tag it or when it is required, you tag it, then the tag will be executed or task will be executed. And then handler will be executed whenever that is notified. And when the handler will be notified, the status of the task is changed. Okay. So we have seen an idea about that. So how to write a handler. So we'll take more examples regarding handlers. So we'll log in with handlers. Does anyone have a spare mask? Because some people are now wearing their mask. Can you? That is also good charity work. Donating mask. So that's our server. Switch to super user. And so go with the playbooks. Right and handlers. Let's go with VI. So did we write any files yesterday? What was the handler file name? Was it? I think I have. Okay, I think it was regarding install, I guess. Install, yeah, not this one. Install Apache, yeah, this one. So there is my handler. But let's take another example. So with write handlers dot YAML. So writing a handler. Post. Let's try with. We'll leave that post. Just or else we'll try with. Save it. I go back to my inventory file. So what is the inventory file name is? Yeah, post, right? Yeah. I just remove that. Okay. So it has been removed. I remove that dev environment. I remove the IP address as well. Okay. And then back to the sample playbooks. Now open handlers. Then can I mention that dev environment? If I do it, there will be an error message. What is the message is? Host not found, right? Okay, that's okay. Still, we can fix it. Now go with the user, and which is task, and the task name is. Let's go with. So we'll try to install multiple packages, and also I'm going to show you the variables concept in the same examples. How to install the packages, and also I'm going to deploy the index.html file. Okay, but I'm doing it with help of handlers now. So go with first. So name of the task is Apache 2, install Apache 2, and then so package, name of the package is Apache 2, and then state is it is present. I'm trying to install multiple packages. So let's say name is install VS and then the package, name of the package is VSFTP, and then state is present. Okay. Now I'm installing multiple packages. So can I replace them with variables? Right. So let's do that. So variables, and then your variable name, let's say package install. That's my variable name. I'm going with two packages, Apache 2, also VSFTP. And then I'm going to replace that Apache 2 with variables. So what's the variable name? So the variable name is, so how to call a variable? Double quotations, double curly braces, and then which is package underscore install. So I don't need the other task, right? I don't need this task. So I can remove that task. So we are installing multiple packages using variables now. And then, so writing and handler, going with handlers now. So writing handlers. So my handler name is, I want to, so restart Apache 2, and then, so service is, right? Service is a module type, and then, so name of the package is Apache 2, and then state is, what is the state? Restart. So I'm restarting. Writing a second handler, which is, so restart VSF TPD. Then, so go with the service, and then name of the service is VSF TPD, and then state is restart. So my task, this is my task regarding installing couple of packages, and then also we have handlers. Okay. Now I want to call this handler. How do you call them? Notify. So notify, and then so what I want to notify, go with restart Apache. Now can I notify multiple handlers? So I have only one task, but I want to notify multiple handlers. Why I want to notify multiple handlers? So here I'm installing multiple packages, right? Since I'm installing these multiple packages, I want to restart both services, but I want to do it with the help of service with the help of handlers. Okay, let's go with so restart. What is the other one? BSF TPD. So let's see how many handlers will be triggered. But this environment, so do we have that environment? No, right? So what will be the error? Ansible playbook and your handler host does not match. So then what do? You go to the host file, inventory file, and write your inventory. So just go to add your group name or your environment name, add the IPs. So we know that. But instead of doing it, I want to make an dynamic inventory. So what is a dynamic inventory? I don't want that default inventory, which is host file. I have my own inventory file. Okay. Since I have my own inventory file, I want to load that inventory file dynamically when I run my playbook. Okay. So whenever I run my playbook, I want to load that inventory, which is dynamically. Dynamically means at the time of runtime. So while I run my playbook, I'm going to load my own inventory dynamically. So let's create an inventory file first. Now I'm creating an inventory file, and you can name your inventory with any name. Let's say something like dynamic-inventory something. So just like a normal text file. So the .yaml is not required. Why .yaml is not required? This is not a playbook. This is just like your host file. What is a host file? Is a text file or not? The VI file. So it's same thing. I'm creating my inventory, and there I'm going to define my inventory. So which is environment name and then IP address. So what was the node IP address? That's my IP address. Okay, done. So what is our inventory file name? This is inventory file name, right? Now run the playbook, Ansible playbook, playbook name, and then with I stands for inventory. So what is the inventory file name? That's my inventory file name. So we are passing the inventory file name dynamically. So at the time of executing my playbook, that is dynamic inventory. Okay, right. So enter. So how many packages will be installed? Two packages, Apache 2 and then VSFTPD. But what was that? The request handler VSFTPD restart was not found. I think the problem would be, so there might be some syntax error or typing issues, I guess. Restart, what is the error is? Restart VSFTPD handler not found. Okay. So let's check the playbook. I think we have mentioned, we have given some wrong name, I guess. Yes, that's a wrong name. It has to be VSFTPD. Wrong name. Right. Save it. Again, the same execution. So what was that command again? Ansible playbook. Playbook name is handlers -I inventory, your inventory file name. Now enter. Now how many tasks are executed? We have only one task, and then the task is status is okay. Okay. So what do you mean by status is okay? The package is already available. Now, so what I'm going to do, I want my handlers needs to be triggered. Since I want my handlers to be triggered, so I'm writing another task and saying that name of the task is remove packages. Now, while I remove packages, can I use handlers? Sorry, can I use variables? Yes. So I'm going to go with package, and then name is. So what is the name? Just a second. So it has to be variable name, right? Let me open it again. So the variable name is, I use package underscore install. That's a variable name. And then state is absent, right? State is absent. So this is why we need variables. Okay. So we are using the same variable names or same packages multiple places. So instead of calling them, say for example, let's say I don't have a variables concept. Then how many tasks do I need to write it? 2 tasks for removing the packages and 2 tasks for installing packages. So now the code has been simplified using variables. Okay. Let's see, save it. And then, so same again with dynamic as dynamic inventory file, and then enter. So packages removing, and then installing packages. Now, so we have handlers triggered, both handlers triggered, right? So when you see that, restart Apache 2, and then restart SFTPD. So one single task can notify multiple handlers. That is possible. But can I notify a same handler multiple times in a playbook? Okay, let's try that. I'm going with writing a task, and that is regarding name of the task is, let's go with the yesterday's example, deploy index.html file, and then copy that. So copy and then source, and what is the source is where we have file maintained. I think that is in files, right? Files, and then index.html, and the destination is, what's destination? Where www, and then html, and then you have index.html. Okay, and after that, let's call a notifier. So what is my notifier? So let's say restart Apache. Okay, so let's try this. So we are calling restart Apache 2 for multiple tasks. So one is for whenever the package is installed, other one is when the file is deployed. So first package is removing and then installing. But the file is not deployed, right? So why the file is not deployed? I think yesterday we already have deployed that file. So the file already exists. But I want to redeploy the same file. See, now handlers are triggered, but which task has triggered the handlers? Install packages. Okay. Now, so this handler, this task has not triggered the handler. The reason is the task status is okay. Now, so we're going to modify the same playbook, and I'm writing another task, and the task is regarding name. So remove the file. I want to redeploy the file. So go with How to remove it? File, and then path of the file is var www and then html. The file name is index.html and the state is so. So this is our playbook now, and let's find out will the handler be triggered. Okay. Since I'm removing the file, so the file will be deployed again. So and the handler has to be called. Playbook and then what's the playbook name and then handlers inventory file name. That's my inventory file name. Good. So this time, so the package status is changed, and then even deploy file status is changed. But how many times handler is triggered? How many times handler is triggered? Only once. Say handlers are triggered only once, whether they are called multiple times. So I'm notifying the same handler multiple times. One is at the package installation time, at the time of deploying the file. So whether you call it number of times, the package is installed only, sorry, handlers are triggered only once. So irrespective of how many number of times you notify them. Okay. So now can I try with notify a handler from another handler? So far we are notifying the handler through a task, but can I notify a handler from another handler? So what is the purpose? For example, let's say I have task one. I have task one. That task is notifying a handler, handler one, and then the handler one is going to notify another handler. Okay. So first task is notifying a handler, and then that handler one is going to notify another handler. Okay. So far what we have been doing, we have been trying to only notifying handler via task, but I want handler has to notify another handler. So how is that possible? Let's see. So take an example now. I'm going with so package installation. I'm calling only Apache 2 handler, restart Apache 2. That restart Apache 2 handler has to, whenever the restart Apache 2 handler is notified, and that restart Apache 2 handler again has to notify another handler, which is restart VSFTPD. Anyone wants to try the syntax? Notify where? After the task, sorry, after the handler. Let's try. So here we just go with notify. So notify. What do you want to notify? Restart VSFTPD, right? So is it correct? What? It's not considered as a task. Which one? This one. Restart VSFTPD or restart Apache 2. So restart VSFTPD is not a task, right? Post list. See, do we notify the handlers or task? Handlers, right? So then why this should be a task? This should not be a task. This should be a handler. That is a handler. So there is nothing wrong. So we notify the handlers. Yes, we are notifying the handlers. Okay. So now let's see. Look at the syntax. Sorry, spelling. Let's try that. Yes. So where is it? Okay. Notify. Okay. Notify. So I'm still trying with my dynamic inventory. So is it triggered? VSFTPD. So say if you want to notify, we notify only handler. But who is going to notify a handler? So either a task or else a handler. Okay. So a task can notify or else a handler can notify another handler. So that is possible. So whenever you want to do kind of recursive kind of execution, so this is the concept. Okay. I want to first trigger a task, then handler, after that another handler in the recursive manner, then this concept is useful. Okay. Now let's do another modifications to that. One more modification, and which is, so first I'm notifying a handler. What is the handler is? Restart Apache 2. There is my restart Apache 2, and that restart Apache 2 is notifying restart VSFTPD, and then so restart VSFTPD handler is going to again notify which one? So restart Apache 2. Okay. So now first we have a task, and that task is notifying handler. So there is my handler, and that handler is notifying another handler, which is restart VSFTPD. And so there is my restart again. That restart VSFTPD is notifying, what is that? Apache 2. There we have Apache 2. But again, so restart VSFTPD. Again, this is now. So is it kind of infinite loop? Now in this example, how many times the handlers will be executed? Infinite times. Okay, let's see. So Ansible hyphen playbook name and inventory. So that is the loop. So first, so restart Apache 2 is notified, and that is notifying restart VSFTPD, and then so we have again Apache 2, and then VSFTPD, and Apache 2 VSFTPD. So if this is kind of infinite loop concept, and then your playbook execution, your handle execution will be stopped after 3 times. So you cannot execute any handler more than 3 times. If the handler is executed more than 3 times, that is considered as infinite loop, and handler execution will be terminated. Okay, you cannot run your handlers number of times. So maximum is 3 times. That too only in these conditions. Okay. So this is an question in interview. So what is an infinite concept in handlers? Infinite loop concept. So if so, how many times a handler can be triggered? Okay, so 3 times maximum. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, well, so okay, now so just remove some things here. Just I'm going with. I want to remove these lines. Remove that handler. Fine. Then, so going to this handler, which is restart Apache. Can I replace that restart Apache 2 with a variable? Understand the question? So can I replace that? So this with my variable. So what's my variable name? Package, right? Okay, let's see. See how people see the meaning of wearing a mask is, what is the purpose of wearing a mask? Don't let your droplets out. You're removing your mask. Do you have a Facebook account? Do you have a Facebook account? You spend your Facebook, you spend your time. How much time you spend on your account? 3 to 4 hours. What do you see in Facebook? No, Facebook does not have that concept. Okay. Well, so just go with. Okay. So try this. So try that variables. Okay. So can I call that variable now? Try that again. Let's see. So what is that? So string field and converted to so and so and so whatever. It does not look like we expect quote and something like this. So now the question is, sorry, open it. Here the task you define, sorry, variables you define in global, right? So variables are called globally for the task purpose only, not for the handlers concept. But if I want to do that, I need to define an item. Okay, so we can define item. So let me show you that item now, how it works. So going with item, you remember the item syntax? So with underscore items, and then to items, go with Apache 2, also PSF PPD. So how do you call that item? So in the name, in the place of name, I just replace it with items. So try that. So it does not work seriously. So the message is a message items is undefined. Yes, to be I should be able to use a no more host platform. Okay. 1 second. Item, not items. So here we use item. So there was some syntax error. It was not items, it is item. Okay. So what was the error? So I mentioned items, but it always has to be item, not items. Okay. So see that variables are only for the purpose of task, and that too we define them globally. Right. So variables we cannot use it at the place of and handlers. So here now can I define variables over here? Can I define variables under handlers? Can I do it? So variables are defined only at this level, not at the item level, so not at the task level or handlers level. Okay. So we take another example for variables concept. Sorry, for items concept. So I think you have been trying with creating some files, right? So when you create the files, it's throwing an error called so string not found, item particular variable not found. So let me give you the syntax. So go with underscore items, try for files. So host, that's my host, and the user root and the task. So let's try with name and create multiple files. And since I want to create a file, file is a module. And so what do you mention in the files? You have path, and then status is, let's say, Dutch. But since I want to create multiple files, I can go with underscore items. Now, so what are the files I want to create? Mention the file names here, and something like in test directory, something like so item one .txt can create any files, and then that go with item 2.txt. When you call the item, how do you call the item? So double quotations and then double curly braces, it is item. That's item. Okay. So save it. Now Ansible icon playbook, the playbook name and inventory file name. So this is how you create your multiple files. So that is possible with items. Now, so we have seen this example, of course. Let's try with different example. I'm going to, so far we have been dealing with packages, service files, but I want to create users. I want to add these users to a group. I think we know the concept of users and groups, right? So now we're going to create the users and create groups. And once users groups are created, I want to add that user to a group. Okay, let me write a first. So take an example for one user, and then we'll be moving on to the multiple users. Okay. With underscore items for users. So go with host. That's host, and then user. And the task. Name of the task is, so create a user. So what is the module type? User is a module type, and attributes of the user. So I'm writing them in the next line. Whenever you create a user, user must have a name first, and give some username, and then what else? User password, and give some password to the user, something like user password, and then so anything else? Add that user to a group. So if you want to add user to a group, firstly the group must be created. So that is what is my first task. I'm creating a group first. Name is, so create group. Okay. And what's a module? Module is group module. Name of the group, something like, let's say, some test group. And group has a group ID, right? Give some group ID. That's a group ID. Now adding that user to a group. How to add user to a group? Now in user module, and the group is nothing but your group ID. Okay, that's my group ID. So very simple syntax. First, I'm creating a group. Whenever I create a group, group is the module, name of the group plus the group ID, and then you have, one second, what is group ID? That should be correct. Anyway, yeah, and then creating a user, and then user module, name of the user, password, and a group. And also, I want to provide some user ID. I want to give some user ID to the user. My user ID is, let's say, 678. So these are the details. Ansible icon playbook name, and inventory file name. So what is that? The value type page string field was converted to, okay, that's not a problem. Okay, that's fine. Anyway. So it says that converted to 567. What does that mean? It has to be in single quotations, but we haven't mentioned the single quotation for the ID. That's okay, but still that is created. Now first group is created, and then user is created. Okay. But how do I do that if I want to create multiple users? Anyone? Sorry. Items. Okay. We define an item. So let's define the items. Let's try. So with items. Okay. What are the items? Tell me. So file concepts, I mentioned the file path, right? File path. But here, what do you mean? I want to create user 1. I want to create user 2, user 3, user 4. Do I mention user 1 and then user 2? Sorry. So if I do that, so look at here. Okay, fine. Let's go with here. You have mentioned the item. Okay. Now I'm going to replace that user 1 with item. With item. Then what user will be created first? User 1, user 2. Let's say first user 1 is creating. If user 1 is creating, what's the user 1 password? And what's the group ID? And what's the user ID? But how about user 2? Same password, same group, same ID. But I don't want that. I want, so for user 1, I want his own password, his own group, and user 2 also his own details. Then still the concept is items is a concept, the items, but the way of syntax you write, you define the items is different. Okay. Now here we go with define the item. How to define the item in these examples? First you go with so hyphen space and then braces, and within the braces you just start defining your so required parameters for the users. What are the required parameters for the users? Name, colon, and then space, single quotation, the user name. Okay. And then so what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to define my first item. So since each item has multiple attributes, so I'm defining them within the braces. Okay. So what's the second one? Second parameter is password, and then some value. Since user 1 is already created, right? Let's go with user 2. Let's go with user 2. And then comma group, and the group is 567, and then what is that? User ID. The user ID is 678. That's my user ID. You can give anything anyway, whatever. So 678 is already used by user 1, right? I go with 679 because 678 is already assigned to the user 1. I'm going with another user ID. Yeah, that's it. That is my first item, and go with the second item. So this is how you define items if you have multiple parameters for this same item. Okay, so my item has multiple parameters: name, password, group, and then user ID. So next is again same. What is the first one is name, and go with that user 3, and then so password, and then which is user 3, and then group, and then so which is same group, right? Let's go with same group. Then user ID, and then so let's say 680. Okay, fine. So we have 2 users. Now tell me, how do you call these items? So look at my so first parameter. What is that? Correct. So which is that name, right? So I'm going to call this item, that is correct, with the help of item. Then which item will be called? The first item will be called, second item will be called. But items has some parameters in it. So I want to call a particular parameter from that item. Okay. So how do you do that? So there you go with item dot then your parameter name. What is that? Name. Okay. And then next we have, what is the next one is password. So and then at the place of password I'm going with so item dot password, and then next is the place of group ID. How to call it? Item dot group, and close them. Next is item dot user ID. Okay. So is the syntax clear? Any questions on the syntax? So what was that? With underscore items, here it says there is some syntax error. Let's see what was that. It says UID, user ID, and then with underscore items. Let's see. Let's check it out. What is wrong? So what was missing? Anyone? What was missing? It was not properly aligned, right? So that was the issue. Alignment was not done correctly. So I've given some extra space, so that should be something like this. Okay, but only the space issue. So run it. Still same. Is it not still given correctly? Just a second. Should be okay now. Yeah, now that should be okay. So we have multiple items stated. We have user and that user 2 details with item, and then item 3 user 3 details. Okay. Now, so what you're going to try with this example is, so I want to create about 2 groups. Here I'm creating only one group, but I want to create 2 groups. So let's go with name. So let's say, so create group. Okay. So and then group, name of the group is, let's say, dev group, and then the group ID. Okay. So usually, whenever groups are created, for the groups we add some default user. Okay. So and now that is what I want to do. If the group is created, I want to create a user and add that user to a group. Okay. Is my question clear? If I'm creating a group and for that user, I want to add a user. For example, let's say I'm creating group. This is my group. So whenever the group is created, for that group, I want to add a user, and which user that is, let's say user 2. And I'm creating some dev group. So if the group is created, I want to add a user called user 3. If the group is created, that's a condition. What's the solution? How do you do that? Just an idea. I'm not asking for syntax, only idea. Sorry. Handless. How? Correct. That was correct. Handless. How? After creating a group, okay. Notify. So what do you notify? Create user, right? Create a user. Okay. But this must be a user. Sorry, that must be under handless, right? This has to be handless. Okay, that is my handle. But in this example, you cannot use items over here. Why? So for example, let's say dev group is creating. If the dev group is creating, then so multiple users will be added to the dev group. I don't want that. I want only one user. In that case, so items does not work. You must create that user and the parameters, user and the parameters. Okay. Now, so also let's put some tag over here. The tag is so create dev group. So finally, what I want, so users. Okay, I'm going with, now I want to create a group called dev group. I don't want to run my whole playbook. Okay, I want to create a particular group, mention that group name as a tag, Ansible playbook, and the playbook name with so tags, and the tag name was, that was my tag name, and then inventory file name. So since I want to create a dev group, now I want to call a tag called dev group tag, and that dev group tag is going to be created first, and after that it is going to add its respective user to the group. And I want this user, for example, I'm creating user one, adding that user one to the dev group. I want to make that user one as the owner of my group, so that he can take the full control of the group. So now we have a other parameter. So in that user, okay, let me show you in the group, not parameter, the group actually. So go with that group module. Sit in group. Let me check browser. Is it possible from here? I want to check this. If that is possible, we can do it. Otherwise, we need to look for some other module. We can make users as owners for the files. When I come go, I'm just looking for, I'll make that user as an group owner. I think they have option. If they don't have option, we need to run some different commands. File role sets the role, read the role, current is going by. Solaris, okay, it's not there. Supported on only Solaris. Okay, not on this user. User. I don't think so. That's not possible in here. Separation user platform. Currently, no, these ones are supported, not supported in these ones. I mean, in Ubuntu, they are not supported. They're supported only on Solaris. That's not a problem. So in that case, we use some set commands. So we have set commands. Using those commands, we can do it. So, and we'll talk about those commands later. So we have. So do you remember whenever in Linux sessions, I was creating some users in the groups, right? We use some commands. What were the commands to set them? What was the command? Which one? Not user add. No. How to make that user as an owner. Don't remember the get FACL, set FACL. Okay, using set FACL, we can set them. Okay. But if you want to run that set FACL through the playbook, then there's a different module. Okay. So we have a module called shell module. Using that module, we can run the commands. Okay. But that module will be shown in the future. So yeah. So take these concepts and for today. So you just do hands-on with these. So yesterday we have tried a scenario, right? So the same scenario, repeat that with the help of handlers, and I have shown you all the scenarios. Repeat all the scenarios from your side, with the help of handlers, and try the concepts for items. Okay, for users, groups, and items. You also try for the what are they? Files. Okay, so try these items. Yeah. Any questions? So as usual, we have AWS session tomorrow and 8:30. And tomorrow, so is our last session for AWS, in which we're going to discuss services like code commit, code deploy, code build, and code pipeline services, which are all DevOps related services, and also Elastic Beanstalk. So I will be covering about 5 services tomorrow, 5 different services. These are all relevant to each other. Okay. So how we can implement the whole CI/CD process on AWS. So without using these GitHub repositories, and or else I have no Jenkins, no deployment tools, no concepts. Everything I want to do it on AWS. So AWS has some integrated services. Using those services, we design the whole CI/CD pipelines. Okay. Yeah. Any questions? Thank you.